If anything, the more logical explanation is that the whole incident was intentionally planned, and Linny is the most likely person to have access to all these areas.
But he doesn't have a motive!
Are you both good friends of his?
Well, you can't say we're good friends, but...
So in just a short time, he was not only able to win your trust, but even convince you to act as his attorneys. I know there's no such thing as magic. The real trick of a magician is holding the audience. I've seen a lot of cases, and I can tell you that people are the least reliable kind of evidence. Sorry, I tend to be pretty straightforward. Just know that I'm warning you for your own good. Anyway, you may investigate the scene of the crime yourselves if you're curious. Who knows, maybe you'll be able...
So this is the rope that broke... The rope looks pretty durable. How can it be burned through so quickly by fireworks? Why are you suddenly so serious, Traveler? Whoa. Look! This bit is made from... Most of it was burned away, but there's still a little bit of it left. Huh. So if a rope meant to hold something was made with that kind of material in it... Wait! Why don't you write all this down? Let's... Hello there! What...
Oh, this location, the seats were all booked in advance. So we were able to deduce the missing woman's identity by checking. Sure, it's not like this is confidential information. We will publish it later anyway. Her name is Halsey. She's a painter from Fontaine who's made a bit of a name for herself. Apparently, she wasn't a regular at the Opera House, but she'd been feeling some pressure with her work lately, which made her decide to come. The Magic Troupe members all claim not to know her. We have looked into her social connections. It seems that she has no personal grief. Simply put, she wasn't related to the Magic Troupe at all.
Were the victims of previous...
That's how it seems to us, in any case. Apart from the fact that they were all young women of around the same age range, it really...
Okay, then.
No need to be so formal. It is of utmost importance.
The investigation team has some new findings. Turns out there's an issue.
See, I told you. What if the machine picked some big guy's seat? You think the murderer...
Sorry to interrupt, but we're helping Linny and Lynette with their side of the investigation.
You're trying to help them?
Linny used the machine to pick a random member of the audience during his performance, right? Well, we thought there might be a serious problem with the machine, so we had it taken away.
It turns out that the seat number it picked wasn't random at all. The machine pick. I'm sure you already know that you have to make a reservation in advance to get a seat, regardless of what. In other words, Linny knew who would be sitting.
That much checks out.
Bet you see why I was saying it'd be tough to make a case for Linny.
Even though it's bad for
I see that you're investigating the area. If you find any new and interesting leads...
We don't have too many thoughts. The thud? Oh, you mean the sound that happened?
Yes, exactly. It wasn't terribly loud. It's just that everyone was awaiting the results of Linny's trick with bated breath. So no one paid it much mind.
That makes...
I'm of the opinion that it may have been the sound of Linny's accomplice. Lynette, when the pyrotechnics went off, she cut the rope, sending the water...
Wait, wasn't the noise we heard too loud?
Perhaps the balance wasn't right, leading to a particularly... Oh, that's true.
That does remind Paimon, though. What?
Hey, you! Yes, both of you! Over here! I've been keeping an eye on you for a while now.
Huh? You mean us?
That's right. If I'm not mistaken, you're also among those who wish to cut down the thorns.
Well, you're right on the more about that one, but who are you?
Have you never heard of the Spina di Rosu? From mediating disputes and providing protection to solving conundrums, you name it, Spina di Rosula does it. And I, Navia, have the honor of being its renowned president. Though those who play by our rules call me boss.
I'm Silver, her attendant. Pleased to meet you.
And I'm Melus, Demoiselle's various daily...
Huh? Boss? Demoiselle? What gives with the names?
Well, I am the second generation president. Malus and the others are still used to...
My apologies, Demoiselle. Should you prefer, boss, I will endeavor to use that instead.
No need. You don't have to call me boss. Just Navia is fine.
Okay, if you say so. Not that we're members of Spina di Rosula anyway.
All merely trifling details. Never mind. Now, that's right. I've always kept an eye on the serial disappearance cases. Judging from the look of things, I find Linny an unlikely master.
Really? We think so too. That's why we're looking for clues. But how did you...
Intuition, naturally. My unparalleled intuition. Farina sure was quick to point the finger at Linny without any decisive evidence whatsoever, wasn't she? But that's not uncommon for her. If you remember, the Justice had to interrupt her and ask if she was pressing charges just to keep her from getting carried away. Anyway, a trial begins the moment someone levels charges. And, of course, there was no way Farina was going...
Sounds more like you just don't trust that.
Well, what's your opinion? I must admit that she can be interesting at times, but liking her doesn't mean that All right, I've answered your question. Now, it's time you answer mine.
Wait a minute! Did that answer count?
Well, I say it does. But don't worry, you won't hear any... In your opinion, do you think it's right to treat a trial like it's an opera?
Well?
And why would that be? See, Silver and Maloose? I told you they'd be different.
Most astute of you, demoiselle. I, too, think that the Traveler's response was most excellent. No matter how wonderful the script or how fervent the audience's expectations may be, the trials that go on stage here must be based in fact. And if that can be done, boss, then...
All right, that's quite enough, Maloose. Anyway, I like your answer. You passed with flying colors. Now, I need to make some preparations, following which our joint investigation shall commence. You two shall be...
Wait! Since when did we become assistant?
Oh, well, I can be the assistant. Sure. Or...
That's more like it.
Far be it from me to brag, but I believe that Demoiselle's intuition will be instrumental in uncovering the truth. You wish to save a friend from false accusations, and we wish to unravel the disappearances.
You have a point. Huh. You're quite the talker, aren't you, mister? And what about you over there? What do you think? You seem like you've got something on your mind.
I have nothing to add.
Oh, all right.
We'll be making some preparations first. Just be sure to let us know if they...
No one can freely enter or exit the Opera House at the moment. If you wish to leave, you must register your identity with us first.
No, we're not leaving. We're representing Linny and Lynette as attorneys, so we're Were you always guarding this entrance?
Yes. After the Chief Justice gave the order, everyone coming in, so the missing girl couldn't have left from here. At least, not from that point on. I doubt there was much opportunity.
How can you be so sure?
Well, because I was in charge of security near... I couldn't see Linny's performance from here, which was quite a shame. Just my luck. But still, I did not abandon my post. We Melazines are good at that sort of thing.
So, it's safe to say the girl could... All right, thank you for your help. This will be useful. We've checked everything of note here at the performance venue. Paimon wonders how Linny's discussion with the guards is going. Let's go see, shall we? Ooh, things are getting interesting, huh? We're about to see how magic is made.
Understood. Then I will be going with you. Just so you're aware, I will be monitoring your actions and making notes as necessary.
Very good. Thanks for being so agreeable. I'd pull a rose out of my hat as a gift for you.
You may spare the pleasantries. I'm just doing my job.
You've arrived. Who's this?
Me? I'm Spina di Rosula's guardian angel. If you've got a problem... Sorry, I got a little carried away there. Call me... And these are my companions. Would you mind if they join as well?
Fine by me.
Oh, new helpers? I would be most grateful.
Well, let's just say we're tagging along. It's not every day you get to see the secrets behind magic performed on such a large scale.
I appreciate your kind interest. Come with me. We'll be heading below stage.
Huh? Below stage?
Yes, a world of secrets is hidden beneath this magic box, prepared specifically for this switcheroo trick. But before I reveal everything, you should have a look first. Notice anything strange here? I'm not trying to be dramatic. Remembering the details of a trick will help you understand the methods used.
Huh. Weren't there balloons and other decorations here? Where did all the...
Ah, good eye. That said, you're still far from discovering the answer.
The back? You mean the inside of it?
Very good indeed. I thought you might not... The back of this door was patterned. Those patterns are now gone, replaced by a smooth wooden board. So, if you put 2 and 2 together, what do you get? Exactly. All right, let's go.
Oh, so there was a passageway under the magic box!
I knew you'd figure out most of it as soon as you saw this place. The 2 magic boxes are positioned right above. See this flatbed trolley? The box with the lucky audience member in it would be shuttled over to the other side using the...
This trolley can raise and lower and even rotate, ensuring that the box will face in the right...
I see. So that's the purpose.
Precisely. The inner box would descend after the audience member was put inside and be moved along the trolley, all while the outer box...
So that's how you did it!
Once the box was lowered, the trolley would store some energy through this device here, with which it would complete the rest of the steps. The audience member would only be able to feel some slight movements in the dark, and by the time she walked out, she would already...
Right! You were talking that whole time, and you even came out for a moment.
Ah, yes. A phonograph operated by Lynette was used to achieve that effect. My assistant and I had already scripted our conversation beforehand. When the countdown began, I had already gone to...
And what about Lynette? Where was...
I was in the mezzanine space in the back of the box.
Oh, interesting!
That's how we were able to coordinate Linny's lines with the assistant. And, by the way, I was the one who walked out of the box at the end.
I mean, we are twins. All it takes is a change of clothes and no one can tell who's who. And that's my favorite part of this trick. Only Lynette and I can perform it.
So that's how it all worked! Wow! Every detail you revealed...
Lynette would briefly walk out of the box and then go back in, jumping into the tunnel and escaping before the box, and then I walk out of the other box in the audience area, and the trick would be complete. The operative word here being would. But as you saw, Cal was in the box, not our audience member. She, on the other hand, mysteriously vanished.
We really don't know how that happened.
If not for that interlude, this would have been an astonishing trick. And yet, to think that someone was... Could we have a look around? I think we can...
This is the scene of the crime. So Linny and Lynette are not permitted to stay.
Yes, of course. No need to be so strict now.
Thanks, everyone. We're counting on you.
What's this?
Looks like a hook tied to the end of a rope. Huh?
Perhaps it was a prop for a different trick. But
whatever it is, let's make a note of...
The floor is wet. Please be careful not to slip.
Speaking of which... What?
Oh! Paimon knows! It's one of those tricks where you pour... And here's a broken vase!
That can't be. The trolley moves... Oh, these are the clothes... Her clothes are here, but she's nowhere to be...
Right! And do you really need to do that? Ugh, this is so confusing. Paimon doesn't want to be a detective anymore. What is this place?
It seems someone could fit through.
Alone, perhaps.
But there are no other ways in or out of here. Oh, you're right! Let Paimon write that down. Seems we're just about done investigating down here.
Yes, let's head back up. Well, we've ascertained this. Let's find a place to sort out our findings once Malus returns. Seems to me that there are...
Apologies for the wait,
So, what did the guards say? Did the
They believe the odds of that are very low, since the vent lead. The guards have checked the area carefully. No one left through the basement during the performance.
So the tunnels become like a secret chamber then! You know, like the kind you usually...
The plot thickens. Halsey's disappearance? No wonder Farina was so confident in her accusation. All the current
In other words, the charges are very likely to be upheld unless we...
Charges and then trial. So if the charges are upheld, they'll...
That's right. This is how a trial goes in the Opera House. During the proceedings, the Chief Justice and the... That's right. This is how indemnitium is produced. The statements from both sides, the defenses from attorneys, witness testimonies. To put it simply, it's as if the Oratrice has its own will, and is a judge in its own right.
This also precludes any kind of favoritism on the part of the Chief Justice. And not...
Once both sides have finished speaking, the Chief Justice will make his final decision. Then, finally, the Oratrice will be consulted by officials. The resultant return...
Huh? So that machine is the one that actually decides? I'm on that...
In practice, there is very little difference. Both have always come to the same judge. Ah, yes, the guards also asked me to convey that none of us will...
Huh? What?
Because we've chosen to act as the twins' proxies. That makes us persons related to the...
They're concerned that we might be colluding with outside parties. Or that we might find outside help to disrupt the case. And even if that were not so, it could prove problematic if we happen to spread...
I'm ready to break out at any time.
Whoa! There's no need for that! Paimon thinks they have a point.
Of course. I just hope you don't mind the lack of options. I'm afraid that catering to all tastes is not in the cards, nor is...
In that case, let's just sort out our findings together here. Pity. I was hoping to take you to try some of Fontaine's famous... I mean, what better way to properly think through our findings than over some...
Huh. Breaking out suddenly doesn't seem like such a bad idea. Just kidding! Paimon will still do her best, even if there are no snacks.
What do you mean, no snacks? Of course we'll have snacks. If we cannot buy...
Huh?
Understood, demoiselle. Everyone, please come with me.
Wait, you're carrying a portable...
Yes, I must be prepared to meet the demoiselle's baking...
I have eggs, sugar, and almonds at the
Good work, you two.
These three are quite the interesting group. And from the way you had these two guys carrying all that stuff around, Paimon thought you'd have them do more during the baking, but you ended up doing the entire thing by yourself, beating the egg...
I was applauding.
And I was giving encouraging smiles.
Well, don't underestimate beating it. Anyway, give these...
Only 3?
Well, eating too many sweet treats might send all that sugar to your head.
Tea is ready to be served as well. This is Demoiselle's favorite. Strong black tea with a... No need for
All right, then. Down to business. However, we can assume that the magician twins could have committed the crimes, of course.
Exactly! Why would they do such a thing right when everyone was watching?
The flower vase and the thud we heard during the performance could indicate some altercation between Halsey and resulting in the shattering of the vase, the discarding of her clothes, and her abduction. Perhaps the criminal thought that since she was chosen from the crowd, she would be too easy to identify if she was still wearing the same...
Paimon thinks that makes sense, but the real trouble is...
True. None of the clues we found thus far support... But the only people left to consider are both technically victims. Whether it's the missing girl, Halsey, or poor Cowl.
Huh. Could Halsey have secretly made modifications to the magic props in order to murder Cowl before making...
That's right. And even if she had tampered with the setup, she would need... Nor does she have any motive. The guards said that she has never had any dealings with the...
Were we not thorough enough in our search? From the sound of things, this is turning into an... Your macarons are amazing, though, Navia. They smell great!
They are my specialty, after all. And...
What? 5? Oh, that can't be right. Paimon only counted 3, honest!
Please don't worry about it. At my age, a few less...
No! Being greedy is one thing, but Paimon knows how to count. Besides, Paimon knows that if she ate too many, then others wouldn't have enough. Wait, even you don't believe Paimon? If Paimon ate those 2 extra macarons, then may they turn into stone in her stomach!
All right, we get it. Well, I suppose one of us might have gotten too engrossed in... Malus, set up the stove again, if you would.
Huh? What are you...
Making sure everyone gets 3 macarons, of course?
Exactly. We don't want to trouble you.
As you wish, demoiselle.
And I have the egg, sugar, and almonds.
Well, this real...
Well, that's it for snack time. I'm going to have another look around. I don't know what we're looking for yet, but we've still got some time. It would be awkward if you got all tongue-tied on stage during...
All right, thanks for your help, and for...
It was nothing. A small task for the Spina di Rosula. Silver, Malus, it's time to go. I'll be back if I find any.
All right, it's time to put our heads together. We've got to get our defense ready for the trial. Oh, it's probably gonna be a long and difficult case. There's no point in worrying about that now. We just need to prepare. Here, take Paimon's notes. They should... Impossible things don't just happen. Look,
Just relax. Even if everyone else suspects Lenny and Lynette. Besides, I doubt Farina understands any more about...
Thanks, Navia. Well?
Best of luck to you.
Ah, finally, you're back. Well, how did your investigation go?
To be honest, you might be disappointed.
No. We're already very great.
Well, now, don't you all look disappointed? Don't tell me that you... That was to be expected, of course. The guilty can never... But don't let that stop you. I shall be terribly disappointed should you, my most anticipated...
Since both parties are present, I declare that the trial regarding the magic show incident is now in session. Firstly, in order for the audience to understand the causes and results of the incident, could we please have Mr. Linney explain the trick?
Yes, of course. I will explain while Lynette demonstrates on stage. All the necessary items have been prepared.
Thank you, Mr. Linney. In that case, I take you ran to and remained hidden within the magic box in the audience stands once the trick began, and thus could not have committed the crime. Is this correct?
Yes, that's correct, Your Honor.
In that case, I call upon the prosecution. Lady Farina.
Why, of course I do. Allow me to take the first shot and break this case wide open. Mr. Linney is clearly... There is no way you could have been in the box the whole time if you were to abduct Halsey and murder Cowell. In fact,
That is simply your hypothesis based on the presumption that I'm guilty.
Oh, is that so? And if I may ask, what did...
The roaring countdown of the crowd, of course. That's how I kept track of the time and built anticipation for the finale.
And you didn't hear anything else at all?
No, nothing.
I see. But when the count reached 30 seconds or so, there was a thud.
Huh?
Hey, hang on. Something's not right.
Yeah, I'm sure he could have heard a noise that loud from inside the box.
I was right by the box, and I definitely heard the thud.
Look at those scales. Could those mean...
Well then, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to use the words of the magician himself.
You never know. Of course, I have armed myself to do far more than smash your alibi. Confidence cannot go unfounded, and my foundation. Tell me, aren't you and Lynette actually from the House of the Hearth?
The House of the Hearth?
No wonder they did something like...
So the serial disappearances were the Fatsui's doing.
I've got a feeling that what happened on stage probably wasn't just an accident.
That's irrelevant. Our identities have nothing to do with what happened.
Indeed. Then perhaps you could tell us everything that happened during that. Your first priority is to prove yourself innocent after all. I'm sure there is little that needs to be kept secret now. The Outlander is speechless. My, oh my, don't they look flabbergasted? Now comes the Oh, good thing I made all those preparations. Seems the all-nighter...
Hey, Linny! Why didn't you...
Order! Order! Mr. Linney, allow me to reestablish. First, when the thud was heard in the Opera House, you were neither in the box nor the tunnel. Second, you and Ms. Lynette are... Are these claims true? Please answer my question, Miss...
I'm sorry. Yes, they're true, Your Honor.
I knew it!
Well, that's it. We might as well move on to the sentencing already.
What should we do now?
Granted. In that case, what is your request?
Is that really necessary? They're already...
The defendant deceived their own attorneys. What is their...
Order! Order! Your request is reasonable, and we shall adjourn.
So you would stick to Mr. Linney's defense even after knowing what you... In that case, my dear audience, let's allow the joy of victory...
Well, this is awkward. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Paimon just knew where to start. We based our entire reasoning on the assumption that you weren't... Not to set the wrong tone or anything, but Paimon's really mad!
I'm very sorry. I know you're angry, and reasonably so, but I know you've clashed with the Fatui several times before. I wouldn't be surprised if just hearing the words, but our organization is very, very large, and the Harbingers have very different personalities.
Right now, we want to save people. As many...
That's right. I'm sure we're on the same page when it comes to this nation and the disaster that it's... I knew if it weren't for our respective identities, we could become good friends. That's why I didn't wish to flat out lie to you, but chose to hide some... The truth is very important, but being completely transparent about everything would see us spending more effort than we need to. Right. So, you be the judge. Heck, if I were you, You met a Fatus who works as a magician, a trickster by trade. All by coincidence, too. But still, I'm asking you to trust me. I am...
Sorry. Please forgive us.
Well, you both say that, but... Right. Let's hear your answer first.
Of course. I'll answer any... We've been trying to find out how the Oratrice operates. We want to know why it has a consciousness. Why can it deliver sentences accurately? During our investigations, we learned that the machine's core is beneath it. From that moment on, Lynette and I have been designing this box swap trick, with the objective of getting close to the core.
Is that why you needed a whole minute?
That's right. In truth, the audience would take about 75 seconds to count down from 60, while I would only need 15 to get to the opposite box. So, after jumping into the tunnel, I accessed the Opera House basement via the vent, and went to investigate the room in which the core is stored.
that air vent was created during the construction of the tunnel specifically to execute this step?
Well, nothing. As soon as I reached that room and was about to investigate, I heard someone's voice. Which should have been impossible, of course. I was quite certain that I was the only one in the... That voice seemed to recognize me and tried to speak to me. I chose to err on the side of caution. On the way back, I saw the broken vase and the clothes on the ground. But the countdown was almost finished, so there was... After that, the homicide occurred just...
Well, that explains why you didn't hear the thud.
Because of that prophecy I told you about, of course. We must know all we can about this nation's secret.
That's the only way we can save everyone.
So, there you have it. The whole truth. It was never my wish to proceed under this cloud of mistrust, but like I said earlier, you can be the judge. If you want to leave because you don't trust the Fatui...
Well, Traveler, you decide. Paimon will follow your lead however you choose.
Okay.
Thanks for giving us a chance.
The current problem is that the scales are tipped pretty badly against you two. If we want to refute the Hydro Archon's accusations, we're gonna need a seriously watertight... Huh? Oh, Paimon thinks...
Both parties have returned to their positions. Let us continue the trial. When last we left off, Mr. Linney acknowledged the new evidence presented by Lady Farina as fact. Therefore, Lady Farina may continue stating her reconstruction.
That took long enough. Now then, if everyone was at this stage, let's revisit that scene from Linney's perspective. Countdown began, he entered the tunnel. When the flatbed trolley passed, he opened the box and got into an altercation with Halsey, which caused the loud thud. He did not realize that this sound could be heard by everyone in the opera house, which finally he used the vase to knock her out, before making her change clothes to prevent others from recognizing her. At this time, Cowell arrived in the tunnel, having heard that strange noise. And so Linny proceeded to knock him out too before stuffing him into that box. Afterward, Linny passed the unconscious Halsey to his accomplice through the magic box in the audience stands. And there you have it. That's the truth.
Does the defendant's side have any objections to Lady Farina's description of the events?
The key to refuting Lady Farina is the order of events, what Linny experienced, and... Seems this won't produce... Seems this won't produce a particularly... Seems this won't produce a particularly... According to Linny, he left via the vent after entering the tunnel. He couldn't have had that altercation with Halsey. Seems this... Seems this... Linny went to the room that contains the Oratrice's core. This is the actual... Seems... Linny did not take part in the underground altercation. He...
Attention! Ace Detective Paimon has something to... When the countdown started, Linny did indeed go into the tunnel. But he immediately used a vent to access the Opera House basement, which is where the underground core of the Oratrice is stored. Once he reached that area, he heard a voice in what should have been an empty room. Since he felt something was amiss, he returned to meet the crime scene had already developed by the time he reached the tunnel again. And finally, he reached the surface. And that was when the accident happened from his point of view. Therefore, he's innocent. Paimon did it! Paimon actually managed to say all that! Wasn't it awesome?
In other words, you believe that he knew nothing.
That's right!
My reasoning?
If that's the case, then if Carol hadn't entered the tunnel, who was the entire... Assuming that what you say is true, Linny only needed to kidnap the young girl to cause a new...
Oh, they have a point.
That's right, you tell him! And that... Oh, well, your denial is very strident, I'll give you that. But what proof do you have to back your claim? Of course I do. If he had been in the map... You're saying that he wasn't?
That's right! Linny wasn't in the box or in the tunnel. This means that when the crime happened, Linny had already entered. The same clue you used to disprove his alibi has now become the best proof! How do you like that?
Well played. To think you'd use such well then, if it wasn't Linny who committed the crimes, then who was it?
Halsey is the missing person and an ordinary audience member. Or did she have her own scheme all along? The deceased's name is Cowell. Linny's
That can't be right. The killer was, in fact, Cowell, the deceased!
Oh, is that so?
What I must do next is recreate the truth. What Cowell did, and how he went from would-be perpetrator. No one entered or left the opera house through its entrances. The sound we heard may have come from a clash between the missing Halsey and the criminal. Linny was not in the tunnel at that moment, which gave our criminal ample time. It would have been tough for both people to fit into that vent. They would likely... Halsey's clothing was in the tunnel, so there must have been some fear that she would attract attention. It would have been tough for both people to fit into that vent. The sound we heard may have come from a clash between the missing... Halsey's clothing was in the tunnel, so there must have been... It would have been tough for both people to fit into that vent. No one entered or left the opera house through its entrances, so where would the criminal have wanted to take Halsey? The sound we heard may have come from a clash between the missing Halsey and the criminal. Linny was not in the tunnel at that moment. No one entered or left the Opera House through its entrances. The deceased's name is Cowell, Linny's assistant. He would have been able... It would have been tough for both people to fit into that vent. They would... The sound we heard may have come from... No one entered or left the Opera House through its entrance. The deceased's name is Cowell. Linny was not in the tunnel. The deceased's name is Cowell. It would have been tough for both people to fit into that vent. They would likely have bumped into Linny as well. No one entered or left the Opera House through its entrance. Halsey's clothing was in the tunnel, so there It would have been tough for both people to fit into...
What's wrong, Traveler? Are you still having trouble figuring things out?
I see how it is. So this was all just a
Look, since we're at a dead end, why not consider it? Just like the trick as it transpired, the end result must have been utterly different.
If only we knew how Halsey disappeared.
Well, that would be nice, but the tunnel only has 3 exits, and none of them seem very likely. And it's not like this is a magic trick where you can just make a real live person disappear. You know, like you did from that water tank, Lynette.
Excuse my interruption, dear opponents.
If the defense is unable to make further effective arguments, we will move on to the next stage of the trial.
Linny was not in the tunnel at that moment, which gave our criminal ample time. The sound we heard may have come from a clash between the missing Halsey and the deceased's name is Cowell, Linny's It would have been tough for both people to fit into that vent. No one entered or left the Opera House. The vase was not broken by chance. It was used to
Paimon gets it! It all comes together if Halsey... Lynette escaped from the water tank, vanishing gradually and leaving only clothes behind. If there's a similar method where a
Oh, just a moment, please. How could a person ever be transformed into water? This is reality we're talking about here, not... Must we really? I should think that of anyone. Magic tricks are ultimately just illusions and misdirection.
But even so, I trust the trap. The truth must be out there somewhere. Perhaps some new line of reasoning may open if we try to gather all the folk. Since Cal was the deceased, we haven't placed much attention on him. But given that we aren't making much progress with the case, it wouldn't hurt to have a look at his belongings, would it?
People really do come up with all sorts of harebrained schemes when at the end of their rope. The way I see it, your suggestion that...
Nevertheless, I believe that this is a reasonable request on the part of an attorney. Since the trial does indeed appear to be at an impasse, I believe that additional evidence... Guards, please step into the lounge and examine the personal...
We are still examining the items, but we have already made critical progress that we discovered several test tubes of fluid within Cowell's baggage, each labeled separately. The notebook in his backpack claims that these fluids are water from the primordial sea. The note's contents also indicate that Cowell belonged to an organization that sells illegal drugs and that he had an accomplice. The notebook has many entries concerning safe usage of these fluids, in which the keyword dissolve. One of these tubes was labeled Opera Epiclese, along with yesterday's date. The notes also state that these dissolution properties work exclusively on people from Fontaine. It's likely that Halsey was chosen. As such, we believe that the defense's hypothesis is, in fact...
You've got to be kidding! People dissolving...
Could something so ridiculous actually be...
Wait a moment. This reminds me of a certain prophecy, but...
If people can become water, does that mean that the water tank's real use was as a means to hide water stains? And if Cowell was targeting that... Wait just a minute. Could that mean... You two, with...
Demoiselle, wait! What about your partners?
Let's go. Just
Order! Order! It is undeniable that further examination of the deceased's personal effects has yielded some surprising results, but we cannot yet verify the veracity of these clues. Still, let us assume that these clues are indeed authentic, albeit with the understanding that Ms. Halsey... Guards, please continue Mr. Linney, it appears your hypothesis is supported by the evidence.
Of course. Thank you. If we uphold this hypothesis, I believe that many of this case's seemingly unrelated clues can be connected.
Right! Like the metal hook! That one didn't make... Let's think about this. Cowell's methods must have something to do with that water from the primordial...
The deceased's name is The water from the primordial sea should already... The water from the primordial sea should already have been prepped before Halsey... Lynette was in the magic box on stage the entire time. Did she have something to... I remember there was something else within the inner layer of that box. The rope that held the water tank up was lit by the fireworks and snapped. As such, the focus here is on the water. Now it seems like the hook rope was not meant for another magic trick, but was instead some form of triggering mechanism. The water from the primordial... The rope that held the water tank up was... Lynette was in the magic box on stage I remember there was something else within the inner layer of that box. Lynette was in the magic box on stage Lynette was in the magic box on stage. Now it seems like the hook... I remember there was...
It's Ace Detective Paimon's time to shine again! In the original plan, Cowell would tamper with the water tank rope and the number selector securing his... When the magic box containing Halsey was lowered, the metal hook would retract gradually and pierce the balloon at the top of the box. When the balloon attached to the box popped, the water from the primordial sea is inside it. Afterward, Cowl would enter the tunnel and break the flower vase to conceal the water inside the tunnel, with the remaining evidence being covered up by the But he encountered something unexpected in the tunnel, and wound up being fatally hit by the same water tank he meant to use to cover his
Huh. That does make sense.
That actually links together a lot of the more
Oh dear, what do I do? Even I think they sound convincing.
Now, it seems like the only point of contention remaining is the exact circumstance. His notes mentioned he had an accomplice who could be related to the situation.
On that note, the guards have just contacted me indicating that they uncovered. I shall now invite him on stage to share it with us.
Thank you, Your Honor. We were just inspecting the luggage of the other people involved in this, and we found an identical sample of the water from the primordial sea.
What?
That can't be. Does this not clear all? My dear citizens, my loyal audience, allow me to Linny did not need to take part in the dissolution of the young woman at all. Indeed, having made modifications to the props beforehand, his accomplice Cowl then caused halt. But upon his return, in cruel avarice, Linny desired sole credit and prepared to do away with his part. Ultimately, he knocked Cowl out, and the tool meant to cover the crime. Now, as much as I regret having come to such a viciously straightforward conclusion, am I right?
We've used up all the evidence we collected. Is this the end of the road?
Oh no. Paimon can't think of anything either. It doesn't... seems using the water as new evidence was too good a move. Why did this...
I think we've all seen enough now. And I believe this is indeed the... Now then, my good, noble excuse me, everyone, but I must
Miss, I must ask you not to shout.
Oh, come on. Don't be hasty. I have a good reason for interrupting, you know. Now, would anyone here like to take a little break from all... I'll show you an amazing trick. One that can bring a young woman who has disappeared back in the flesh, right before your very eyes. Please.
What in the world is she saying?
No offense, miss, but miracles like that are beyond my scope as a magician.
Come on now, don't be silly. Magic is all about misdirection, isn't it? It often conceals, but once everyone believes the illusion, can't magic reveal the truth to them once again? And wouldn't such a trick be the most marvelous finale to today's performance? Come on, Linny and Lynette, give it another go. But as the magic makers and stars of the show, I think I should leave the final...
I understand.
And voila!
Sorry for the interruption.
Wait, isn't that Halsey? So, the whole thing about people...
To be clear, I'm only here because this person told me that if I testified, the merit of doing so would lessen my sentence. I was hiding outside this room listening to the proceedings because I was afraid that I would be the one put on trial. I was just feeling happy that no one had noticed me. And then, before I knew it...
That'll teach you to underestimate us three.
Where should I begin? I'm sorry. I'm the one who killed Cowl.
What? Why?
Firstly, my name isn't Halsey. It's Lillian, and I'm originally from Mondstadt. I heard that Linny's show was gonna be a real thriller, but I missed the chance to buy it. That's how I make a living. I steal stuff here and there. But I was noticed at the harbor a few days ago, and I barely got away. Linny was the one who caught...
Hey! No wonder you look familiar! So you Liddy even mentioned that you were pretty skilled.
Well, and I thought that would have been the end of it, but then the number selector, he even mentioned the Fortress of Meripede. That's a prison, isn't it? So you can imagine how shocked I was. I thought he was onto me for... So I played along with the show while looking for an opening to flee. But then I got water poured on me for no reason, and then someone jumped into the tunnel to nab me. I wasn't going to take that lying down, so I knocked him out and stuffed him into the... There was nowhere to run from there, though, so I had to change my clothes and hide in a box containing perform... I slipped out after the first guard arrived at the scene and continued hiding inside the opera house.
Can a person even hide in there?
But I swear, I didn't know that the water tank would fall down. Really, had I known that, I wouldn't have put him in the magic box. I may be a thief, but I'm no...
Well, that makes everything pretty clear now, doesn't it?
This time, we need to tell the entire story from Lily-Ann's... Seems this... Seems... The strange sound wasn't from a fight. It was Lily-Ann's attempt to break out when she was frightened. The flower vase was not broken to cover anything up, but it was smashed during... Lily-Ann was afraid that she would be recognized.
And it's instant! Having been selected out of the blue, Lily-Ann panicked. Her panic only intensified after she entered the tunnel and had water poured on her head. So she kicked the door open, producing the thud we... Hearing the commotion, Cowell leapt into the tunnel, only to discover that He did not know that Lily-Ann was not from Fontaine, but was mistakenly believing that the water from the primordial sea needed time to take effect. He tried to force Lily-Ann back into the box. The two broke the flower vase during the struggle, but Lily-Ann came out on top, knocking with no way of escaping. She changed her clothes and hid in the costume trunk until the performance ended. That she would have to go through guard inspection if she tried to leave afterward. So, she has been trapped.
She had already become desperately hungry by the time we were chatting over macarons. So, she swiped 2 of them right under our noses. Talk about a
At this point, all the events that happened in the tunnel have now come to light.
Ah, so that's the whole story.
Bravo!
Now then, Lady Farina, do you wish to speak against the defenses? Please answer the question, Lady Farina. Also, if I may add, the trial has not yet ended. As such, I request that the prosecution not...
What, are you reading my mind now? No, I have no further arguments. I admit defeat. But really, could you at least have left me with some dignity?
Wow, look at that!
If there are no objections, then as the Chief Justice of Fontaine, I shall... The actual perpetrator of the serial disappearances, Cowell, selected his next victim from the audience. With some modifications to the selector, he could ensure that the pre-selected young woman... To cover up any evidence while committing the deed, Cowell thought of allowing the water tank to fall, which would conceal the water left behind after the young... He also tampered with the rope suspending the water tank, using the fireworks at the end of the performance to cause the tank to drop and hide the watermarks. He poured the water from the primordial sea into a balloon during the preparation of the magic box and stuck it to the box's lid. Finally, he passed the prepared hook on a rope through the gap in the magic box's door when bringing the young woman to said box. When the magic trick officially began, the box containing the woman was lowered into the tunnel, tightening the hook rope and bursting the balloon containing the water. If all had gone to plan, the young woman would be dissolved at this time. However, Lillian was not from Fontaine and thus fled the box with a loud... Realizing that there was trouble, Cowell entered the tunnel and met Lillian. Thinking that the waters had not yet taken effect, he decided to proceed. However, his opponent was more capable than he thought, and he was overcome, knocked unconscious, and placed into the magic box. And Lillian, according to her own statements, then changed clothes and hid until the performance ended, before hiding in other parts of the opera. As for Linny, he was in the underground structures within the opera house, and was thus ignorant of these happenings. From this reconstruction of events, we can conclude that Linny, the accused, is in fact innocent. While there is much in Linny and Lillian's conduct that should still be investigated separately, this case, at least, can be handed over to the Oratrice to make the final decision. As such, Linny and Lynette are officially declared...
Victory for Ace Detective!
Great work, partner.
Thank you all. Thank you so much.
Next, I think we deserve an explanation, Guard Vaughn. How did you find the water from the primordial sea in Linny's baggage?
Right! Your discovery caused me to make a serious mistake, you know. Or was that not a discovery?
I suspect that the accomplice mentioned in Cowell's notes was not Linny, but you, yes? I'm sure you know what you must do to lessen your sentence.
Speak quickly! Unless you want to earn yourself a one...
I was just following order. We were supposed to place blame for the serial disappearances onto Linny, and thus cause suspicion to fall on the Fatui. The higher-ups said this...
And now that your plan has fallen through, and the secrets of the water have been revealed, you have become alive. Therefore, you would be wise to tell everything you know, and seek the protection of the guards.
Yes, I'll tell you everything I know. Our boss discovered that the water can cause people to dissolve. It can also be made into a potion, which, when extremely diluted, can cause people to experience unforgettable exhilaration. We've been in this business for a while now, and have made decent mora off it. The disappearances were also the boss's idea. I mean, this is the boss we're talking about.
And now he can no longer talk.
Such ruthlessness.
An outrageous act. All present, please submit to inspection immediately.
So, we're just going back now? That's...
Traveler, Paimon! Please wait.
Lenny...
I know you may not want to speak to me right now. Maybe you don't even want to... But still, let me thank you again for defending me to the end, even after you learned that I'm a member of the Fatui. I guess. But regardless, I didn't approach you with any ulterior motives or ill intent. I've spoken to you as myself, just plain Linny this entire time. As for why I'm a Fatus, it's because the goals of the House of the Hearth align with those of an orphan like me. That's all. That was how Father, who you might know as the Knave, approached recruiting us back then too.
A knave? The one who controls the House of the Hearth? She's your father?
That's right. And since we're here, I was wondering, would you mind here? Back when our parents first died, Lynette and I were left wandering the streets. To survive, I took to surreptitiously observing an older street performer who did magic. I took my sister through several streets until we found a crowded corner, and we began to perform magic tricks there. To my surprise, we proved to be pretty popular, and we could at least stop worrying about where our next meal would come from for a time. But I didn't want my sister to... Before long, an aristocrat came to me and claimed that he wished to take us in after watching my performances.
So you went from orphans to nobility just like that?
That was how we felt at first too. As if fate was on our side and we could say goodbye to those painful days. But I gradually discovered that while we were called foster children, he was really after my talent for magic tricks. He would constantly take me to all sorts of banquets to garner attention, which he would then use to expand his social circles.
That doesn't seem too bad either. Better than roaming the streets at any rate.
It took a while for me to realize just how dark. After one particular performance at a banquet, I discovered that Lynette was not on the same return vehicle as me. I waited a long time after we returned home, but she did not come back. The answer he gave me was, she caught the eye of the most eminent person at the banquet, so I sent her over as a gift. I mean, you'll be able to perform your magic regardless.
Oh no. But what if Fontaine's...
As far as outsiders are concerned, this is a relationship akin to adoption or foster care, and they have their ways of escaping the eye of the law. I managed to ferret out the location of the mansion of that so-called eminent person, and hurried through the night. All I saw was the moonlit ground covered in blood, and the knave standing there in the dark.
So, she'd already taken care of that guy.
That's right. She had rescued my sister before she could come to any harm, and had even discovered several girls hidden in a basement, all of them orphans. Father, I mean, the knave, might have seen something in me, and so she made me an... The House of the Hearth welcomes you, for your interests align with ours. Here, none will ever betray you. Indeed, betrayal shall never be... I was hesitant to trust her. I mean, I had just been betrayed by nobles. But she was also quick to destroy the noble who had taken us in at first, giving us back our freedom.
Oh, so that's how the two of you joined the House of the Hearth.
She has her own plans. She has gained permission from the Tsaritsa to first use the Gnosis's power when she obtains it. She plans to use it to find a way to break the prophecy and save Fontaine.
So, she believes in that prophecy too?
That's right. The whole House of the Hearth is currently working to combat that crisis. Today's case has also proven that people from Fontaine can indeed dissolve into some sort of water, thus further supporting the prophecy. All of us house members here, Lady Arlecchino herself included, are from Fontaine. We won't give up on defending our homeland. To us orphans, the only connection we have left to this world, apart from our family, is...
So, from small deeds like distributing magic pockets to huge schemes like stealing a Gnosis, everything is aimed at dealing with that prophecy.
It's all right. I understand. The only thing I can do is... I just hope you can understand that even as a member of the House, I have never stopped making my own decisions, and that I believe what I'm doing... If you should need anything at all in the future, feel free to find me. I will do...
Bye, Linny!
Hey there! What was with the disappearing act you pulled right as the trial ended?
Were you looking for us, Navia?
Well, this whole thing isn't exactly over, is it? I do feel that we're getting closer to solving the serial disappear... Huh? What's wrong, my dear partner?
Besides, are you sure we're the ones who can crack a case? And given that there's new evidence from the trial, there should be a trail.
Ah, I see. Well, I won't lie. I'm a little shocked to hear that from you. Sorry. I might have been too presumptuous.
Don't say that, Navia.
Ah, and we were having so much fun investigating with you, too. It was like having new waters flowing into a stagnant mire, causing new hope to spring forth. Well, sorry about that. Wait, shall we have a farewell meal? You know, to commemorate our time as part...
Huh? Do we really need to get that formal?
Well, I just like to have a proper ending to every important memory. Anyway, it would just be a meal, so it shouldn't take up too much of your time.
You don't have to twist Paimon's arm if Boss Navia's treating Camp...
Oh, wonderful. In that...
All right, then. Let's have our farewell...
are for now, but friends are forever.
If we've got nothing else to do, why don't I tell you a story? Fireworks are for now, but friends are forever. Have you ever kept goldfish as pets? They're very cute. Changed one bit.
we've got nothing else to do, why don't I tell you a story? Have you ever kept goldfish as pets? They're very cute. Fireworks are for now, but friends are forever. If we've got nothing else to do, why don't I tell you a story? Fireworks are for now, but friends are forever. If we've got nothing else to do, why... story.
Lady Farina hasn't changed one bit. Lady Farina hasn't changed one bit. Lady Farina hasn't changed one bit.
Fireworks are for now, but friends are forever.
Lady Farina hasn't changed one bit.
Have you ever kept goldfish as pets? They're very cute. If we've got nothing else to do, why don't I tell you a story? Have you ever kept goldfish as pets? They're very cute. If we've got nothing else to do, why don't I tell you a story? Have you ever kept goldfish as pets? They're very cute. Fireworks are for now, but friends are forever. If we've got nothing else to do, why don't I tell you a story? Have you ever kept goldfish as pets? They're very cute. Oh? Oh. Perks are for now, but friends are forever.